Yield 5 minutes to Ms. Jayapal from Washington State.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start by echoing my colleague's demand to call in Project 2025 architect and OMB Director Russ Vogt for a hearing. Mr. Vogt needs to answer for the unlawful actions of the Trump administration to withhold funding that was passed with bipartisan support in Congress, not to mention the affordability crisis that's been created by this administration. But since we don't have Mr. Vogt, I'm going to turn to you, Mr. Swagel. I've got some easy questions for you. You've served as director of the Congressional Budget Office since 2019, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And in all your years at the Congressional Budget Office, which law has CBO scored as increasing the deficit by the largest amount?
Oh boy, the largest amount, this was for, this added to the debt by over $4 trillion, including the net interest payments. So that would likely be the 2025 reconciliation.
The one big, beautiful bill or the one bad betrayal bill? The cost of the big bad betrayal bill is $3.4 trillion over 10 years, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And as you know, Republicans are refusing to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits, and as a result, 22 million Americans are receiving notices of skyrocketing premiums in the new year. In my home state of Washington, 80,000 people are expected to drop coverage simply because they can't afford it. Mr. Swagel, is it true that the CBO projects that the number of uninsured people will rise by 2 million in 2026, by 3.5 million in 2027, and by 3.5 million in 2035 if these enhanced subsidies expire?
That's correct. The expiration of the enhanced subsidies will lead to those impacts.
Loss of insurance. And is it true that CBO and the Joint Committee on Taxation estimates that a one-year extension of the ACA tax credits is $30 billion and a permanent extension would total $350 billion over 10 years?
Yes, that's correct.
So we're talking about $30 billion to extend the ACA tax credit for 22 million Americans for one single year, $90 billion for a 3-year extension, all a tiny fraction, if I do my numbers right, of that $3.4 trillion price tag for the one bad betrayal bill. And that bill also cuts taxes by $4.5 trillion over the next 10 years, while cutting $1.1 trillion from SNAP, Medicaid, and other health programs. So I want to quickly run through some of the beneficiaries of these tax cuts. Funds that could go towards extending the ACA tax credit, SNAP, other healthcare benefits that American families depend on. So in 2023, the estate tax only applied to the wealthiest 4,000 estates. The big bad betrayal bill permanently doubled the estate tax exemption, permanently. So it's $15 million for an individual and $30 million for a couple next year, and going forward, it's going to be indexed to inflation. And that solely benefits the top 0.2%, 0.2%, passing on millions in wealth to people who have done nothing to earn it. Is it true that the JCT estimates that this estate tax cut costs $212 billion over 10 years?
Yes, that's correct.
And when it comes to multinational corporations, taxing less on foreign earnings compared to domestic earnings incentivizes those corporations to shift profits abroad, including by moving jobs out of the United States. So is it true that JCT estimates the big bad betrayal cuts international taxes for businesses by $167 billion over 10 years?
Yes, that's correct. $167 billion on the international tax.
So I want to get this really clear in my mind, and for anyone who might be watching this. Republicans are rewarding corporations for sending U.S. jobs overseas, and these examples I've given you are just a couple of the examples of Republicans cutting taxes for the ultra-rich that could help Americans who are struggling to afford care. But they're prioritizing the top 2% instead of hardworking Americans. And so I feel like it's very important for the American public to understand that as their grocery prices are going up, their utility prices are going up, their health insurance costs are going up, what Republicans have done is permanently extended tax cuts for a very tiny group of people at the top and given out a bunch of corporate giveaways, and then they're saying suddenly we can't afford health care for 22 million Americans who are facing doubling and tripling health insurance premiums. And I know many of my constituents, Mr. Chairman, they're coming up to me and they're saying, I'm not choosing to get health care because I need to pay my mortgage and my rent. And I think it is absolutely unforgivable that this is the way we've chosen to spend the American taxpayers' money, benefiting a tiny group of people and saying, you know what, we don't care if you can't afford health care, if you're going to be uninsured, if you can't afford your rent, if you can't afford your grocery bills. We're just going to go along with this because that's what we do as Republicans. I think it's outrageous. I hope that we extend these tax credits permanently, just like you did for those tax breaks for the top billionaires. I yield back. I know you're going to miss us, Mr. Chairman, when you
Just
leave.
listening to you makes me wonder if I made the right decision to retire.
Well, you could always switch, Mr. Chairman. We got some work to do together.
We came in together, and you're a good friend, and even when I vehemently disagree with you, I have to say you're a good friend, so I will miss you. But I'm going to hand the conch to my